how we doing, everybody? This is Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert, a NASCAR and racing podcast. What a time in the Lone Star State this past weekend, as all three series would be ready to throw it down in Texas. After 2 off weeks, the trucks will be back in action. Could the top regulars of Honeycutt, Smith, Riggs overtake the Cup drivers of Hocevar, Chastain, and Busch dropping down for this one? Saturday would be O'Reilly Series' turn. After winning last year in Texas, Cup driver Kyle Larson will be back in the seat, looking to grab another trophy. Or could one of the series' youngsters of Jesse Love, Sam Mayer, or Brent Crews overtake him? Moving to Sunday for the Cup race. After winning last year, could Joey Logano get out of his slump? Or will it be Denny, Hamlin, Tyler Reddick as they continue to battle for wins? Yellow flag, green flag, discussions with Dave, paint scheme of the week, NASCAR history time, predictions for Watkins Glen, tire diaries, plus so much more on this episode of Splash of Gas. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Now for the Truck Series recap. Trucks will get their show going Friday evening, continuing his hot streak. After winning the Cup Series race in Talladega, Carson Hocevar would win the pole. Him and Jake Garcia would bring the field to green. 18 laps in, Kyle Busch pits with a flat tire. 6 laps later, first yellow of the day occurs as Corey Roper goes for a spin. Ben Rhodes and Chandler Smith restart the field. Rhodes clears and leads. The rest of the stage stays green and is won by Ben Rhodes. Toyotas of Brendan Jones and Taylor Gray restart for the middle stage. Jones leads, but there is a yellow shortly after. Jones and Carson Hocevar then restart. Lap 60, Carson takes over at the lead. Hocevar leads up until another yellow 14 laps later as Chris Wright hits the wall. Everyone pits besides Dawson Sutton and Minnie Tyrell. They restart with 2 laps to go in stage 2. Hocevar gets a run on the new tires, passing both onto the stage 2 win. Hocevar and Honeycutt restart for the third and final stage. Carson clears and leads until he pits under the next green flag pit stop on lap 122. 11 laps later, the cycle would be complete. Gio Ruggiero leads with Kaden Honeycutt in second. After a Tyler Ankrum spin on lap 144, the same pair restarts. Honeycutt leads until he gets passed by Carson Hocevar on lap 152. 4 laps later, Stuart Friesen hits the wall, which collects Grant Enfinger as well. Yellow comes out. Hocevar and Kyle Busch restart with 8 to go. Hocevar gets the jump and leads. 3 laps later, big wreck as Jake Garcia, Connor Jones, and Justin Haley all get collected, putting the race into overtime. Ruggiero and Hocevar restart for the 2-lap shootout. Who would be ready to claim the win? The two go door to door. Hocevar clears coming out of turn 4. 1 to go. Gio isn't able to catch Carson. Hocevar wins the Truck Series race in Texas. Now for trivia question time. This episode's question is, who won NASCAR's first trip to the road course of Watkins Glen in 1957? Answer coming at the end. Now for the O'Reilly Series recap from Texas. O'Reilly Series would be roaring to go on Saturday down in Texas. Justin Allgaier would win the pole, followed by Brandon Jones. Again, they don't make it too far again. This is the 3rd week in a row. In the O'Reilly Series, there's a wreck on lap 1 as several go spinning, collecting others. More on that on yellow flag, green flag. After additional cautions on lap 8 and then again on lap 18, Justin Allgaier and Kyle Larson restart. Allgaier gets the jump and leads onto the Stage 1 win. Allgaier and Connor Zilisch restart for the second stage. Larson clears from the second row and leads. 3 laps later, Connor Zilisch would overtake Larson. Yellow on lap 67 as Austin Dillon has a tire go down. Lap 72, Zilisch and Allgaier restart. Connor clears and leads. Rest of the stage stays green and is won by Connor Zilisch. Him and Brent Crews restart for the third and final stage. Zilisch and Crews and Larson go 3 wide a lap later. Larson then clears for the lead. Green flag pit stops. Kyle Larson pits on lap 145 and recycles to the lead later. Last yellow flies with 22 laps to go as Raja Karuth goes spinning in the 32. 16 to go. Larson and Brandon Jones restart. Larson leads and Justin Allgaier is up to second. Could Allgaier catch Larson? 5 to go. Allgaier is close and looks for the pass on the outside of Kyle, but he couldn't make it happen. Final lap stay green. Kyle Larson is victorious in the 88 O'Reilly car for Junior Motorsports. On to the Cup Series recap. Cup Series would be ready to go Sunday in Texas, the Lone Star State. Carson Hocevar continues his red-hot streak from Talladega, wins the Truck Series race Friday night, then is the fastest in Cup qualifying on Saturday. Hocevar, alongside his teammate, everybody's amigo, Daniel Suarez, brings the field to green. Early on, Hocevar would lead, but 19 laps in, Denny Hamlin would take over the top spot. 14 laps later, the first pit cycle would start. Christopher Bell would take over the lead, followed by his teammates of Chase Briscoe and Denny. On lap 68, heartbreak for Bell as he gets spun after contact with Todd Gilliland. Bell would stay out but bring the yellow out shortly after with his tires going out. His day would end early. Eric Jones and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. restart with 6 laps to go in Stage 1. Jones would get the jump and lead onto the Stage 1 victory. Hocevar and Ty Gibbs restart for the middle stage. Carson would eventually clear, but 2 quick yellows would fly as Byron, then Gibbs each hit the wall. Corey Heim and Brad Keselowski restart. Heim would lead up until lap 152 before he would pit. Chase Elliott takes over leading. There would be a late stage restart, but Chase is able to pass Brad onto the Stage 2 win. Chase and Tyler Reddick restart for the third and final stage. Chase clears and leads. Only yellow of the stage occurs with 10 laps to go as Corey Heim spins into the wall. Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin restart with 4 to go. Who would take the trophy? Elliott clears and leads. Could Denny catch him? Last lap, Kyle Busch and John Hunter Nemechek tangle. We'll get more into that on discussions with Dave. Race still stays green, and Chase Elliott gets the win in Texas. Quick look back at the predictions we made for Texas. Trucks tapped Honeycutt. He finishes third. O'Reilly, winner, picked Kyle Larson. He gets it done. Cup, I went with Denny Hamlin. He finishes second behind Chase Elliott. Now for yellow flag, green flag. Yellow flag trucks. Justin Haley. Tough day for him as he gets caught up in one of the late wrecks and finishes 27th. Green flag trucks. Kaden Honeycutt is extremely close to his first win in the Truck Series. He finishes third and is first among the full-time truckers. Yellow flag O'Reilly. The field, just like last week. Again, 3 races in a row, a yellow on lap 1. When will this stop? Green flag O'Reilly. Crews missile. Brent Crews. Matter of time, just like Corey Day, until this youngster gets a win at the O'Reilly level. The 18-year-old Brent finished 4th. Yellow flag, Kyle Busch. If you listen to the radio and you watch it, he wasn't clear. His spotter was saying bumper, bumper. He still makes the move, turning in the Nemechek, and then gets annoyed and spins John Hunter. Green flag, Cup. 2 guys we're going to give it to this week. First, Corey Heim. Great to see him lead a good number of laps on Sunday at the Cup Series. Unfortunately, his day ends early, spinning, which caused the last yellow. And Alex Bowman, after his time out of the seat, Bowman finishes third in Texas. Great to see him healthy and up front. Now for discussions with Dave. Cup Series thoughts, then KFB versus JHN. Just like Kyle Busch's crew chief said pre-race, Texas, we're going to see some of the most yellows we'll probably see throughout the season. Let's be prepared. In the end, probably not as many as we expected, but heck, on that dog leg, on the 1.5 miles of Texas, guys were hitting the wall for sure. Pit road also got pretty crazy. Joey Logano's day ended on pit road, and there were several other drivers that had issues on the pit lane in Texas. One of the yellows was caused by Ryan Preece getting into Ty Gibbs. I didn't really think that was too egregious. We'll talk on more on that on Discussions with Dave Part 2. But unfortunately for Preece, the audio really caught him red-handed. But let's get into the Kyle Busch, John Hunter Nemechek situation, which almost brought out the yellow on the last lap. Kyle Busch, John Hunter Nemechek battling it out late in the race, as we saw. And at that point of the race, Kyle Busch is running up in the top 10. We have not seen him do that the whole year. So the 8 team was really having a great run in Texas. And, Kyle racing John Hunter, just like we said. And on the radio, you hear Kyle's spotter, bumper, bumper. He wasn't clear, but he still goes to make the block on John Hunter, turning into him, and then slaps into the wall. Kyle, for some reason, thought that was John Hunter's fault and spins John Hunter. And guess what? Kyle Busch doesn't get any penalty for that. And if you're watching the race, that was on purpose. I mean, if you don't think it is, you have to be a diehard Kyle Busch fan. And post-race, John Hunter Nemechek was vocal on social media about it and did not agree with Busch's move. Dale Jr. was chiming in as well. He couldn't believe that Preece gets penalized. And the move that Kyle Busch, which is, I thought, even more egregious, doesn't get anything. Felt bad for John Hunter. More on Kyle Busch's tough season later in this segment. Thoughts on the Truck Series race? Carson Hocevar gets the win. Kyle Busch was really right there as well. He has tire issues early in that one, but is able to prevail. Him and Hocevar were really the fastest 2 trucks at the end. And Kaden Honeycutt really brings us to the next question. When is he going to get his first win? I mean, in my opinion, it's really imminent. It's going to happen soon. Honeycutt in the Champ 4 last year in the old playoff system. And as we know, that 11 truck won a gazillion races, it seems, last year with Corey Heim. He's going to have to break through. Believe Honeycutt's going to run in the top 10 in Watkins Glen, but Dover, then Charlotte, are going to be 2 great chances for Kaden to break through. Just as we said, what is going on with Kyle Busch and that 8 team? There has been rumblings with RCR that the cars that they're bringing this year are just not up to par and aren't as competitive as years past, and the results really prove that. As we mentioned, prior to Talladega, Kyle Busch, his best finish was 12th in COTA. And coming into Dega, 25th Bristol, 35th Kansas, top 10 Talladega. As we mentioned, Kyle Busch was running pretty much in the top 10 all day in Texas. Looking strong, good qualifying effort, qualified 4th, I believe. Busch for this one, they switched up his crew chief, and they're having a good day. And on the last lap, he has to screw that all up. And the move, yeah, I get it. Racing's racing, long race, tempers boil over, and you get annoyed at one another. Kyle Busch is a 2-time Cup Series champ. most wins in the Truck Series. I would not expect a veteran driver and champion to act like that towards the end of the race. Is Kyle Busch cooked? As a fan of the sport, I hate to say it, but things are starting to look like that. His son, Bregston's racing, is getting more and more jam-packed. Does he kind of go out the pasture, running mediocre in the Cup Series for the next couple of years, then into retirement? Yes, that is realistically an option. And at this point, really the direction he's pointed in. But just like we said, Kyle Busch, all things racing, deep down, he's a champion. He still has that championship spirit. And can he have that come out, rally the troops at RCR, and get top 10s, collect top 5s, grab a win, get into the top 16 drivers for the playoffs? I think he can. But right now, it's going to be heavy lifting. They have dug themselves a hole. No question about it. But if anyone can do it, I think it's Kyle. How much does he really want it? That's the question in the end. Moving on to the next topic on DWD, Denny joining the chat again on the Gabehart versus Gibbs saga. Jeff Dickerson, one of the higher-ups at Spire Motorsports, has, of course, with Carson Hocevar getting the Cup Series win, and Dega has, been vocal with the ongoing legal dispute with Chris Gabehart and Joe Gibbs Racing. Denny Hamlin chirps in and says, "Yeah, okay, buddy, you hired someone who stole tens of millions worth of information from us." Denny, as we know from the 2311 versus NASCAR whole legal saga over the offseason, goes right back to stirring the drink. And at this point with, the whole investigation and court proceedings still unraveling, Gabehart really isn't in a position to openly defend himself. And the evidence that Joe Gibbs and Hamlin have brought, it really points the finger at Gabehart and Spire Motorsports. This is going to take months and maybe even years to get a true final explanation, and we'll keep our ear to every second of it. Denny's comments did make me chuckle as well. Wanted to share that. Next topic on discussions with Dave. More talk from Denny Hamlin. And I'm still on Denny's side on this one. Denny keeping it real with Stephen A. Smith. Last week we're discussing about how Stephen A. Smith called NASCAR drivers and also golfers not real athletes, saying if you can do it into your 60s and 70s, you're not an athlete. Of course, I went on my soapbox and wanted to go toe-to-toe with Stephen A. on the argument, obviously, but don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. And various other NASCAR drivers pretty much said the same thing, defended the topic just like I was. Going into Texas, Denny Hamlin, as we know, part owner of 2311 Racing with Michael Jordan, posted a video of Stephen A. Smith being asked, "Hey, have you ever been to the 2311 facility?" Stephen A. says, "Yes, I've been to Jordan's facility over there and met with Hamilton." Excuse me, Stephen A. This isn't F1. It's Denny Hamlin. But Hamlin, being a good sport, posted a video, a montage of him being up at front and saying, "Denny Hamilton." I loved it. I was laughing for a couple minutes seeing that. It's funny. And also pokes fun at how much of a doofus Stephen A. is, making comments on a sport that he doesn't pay attention to. Do some more research, Stephen A. Come on, man. That wraps up Discussions with Dave, Part 1. Now for Paint Scheme of the Week. This episode, we throw back to a paint scheme that made his debut with Chris Buescher in the 17 last year. in partnership with Kroger Cinnamon Toast Crunch. If you're a kid from the 90s, growing up, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Lucky Charms, yes, definitely more on the sugary side, but heck, that's some good stuff. Paint scheme has the animated Cinnamon Toast Crunch with the big eyes, the big animated tongue. And then on the rear bumper says, "Eat my Cinnadust." I did get a Cinnamon Toast Crunch 17 shirt at one of the tracks last year. Now for NASCAR history time, Watkins Glen. August 10th, 1986. After more than 2 decades away from the track, stock car racing returned to the Glen for the first time since '65. Tim Richmond led the field to green in a highly anticipated comeback event. Richmond didn't disappoint. Driving the 25, he battled with Darrell Waltrip before making the decisive pass with 12 laps remaining to reclaim the lead. He went on to secure the victory, marking his 4th win in just 6 starts at that track and cementing his status as one of the premier road course racers of his era. August 11th, 1996. Dale Earnhardt cemented his Intimidator reputation in one of the grittiest performances of his career at the Glen. Just 2 weeks before, after a violent crash in Talladega left him with a dislocated sternum and a broken collarbone. That's tough. Earnhardt climbed back behind the wheel despite being in severe pain, unable to breathe comfortably or lift his right arm on a road course where you need to shift. Earnhardt still refused relief help from Jeff Green, who stood by as backup if needed. Instead, Dale gutted it out for the entire 220-mile race, muscling the number 3 car to an impressive 6th-place finish. Post-race, battered but proud, Earnhardt summed it up in classic fashion. "It hurts, but it hurts good." And that was this episode's edition of NASCAR History Time. Now for Discussions with Dave, Part 2. Ryan Preece, as we've been discussing, gets penalized for wrecking Ty Gibbs. RFK Racing will appeal the penalty for Ryan Preece, but as it sits, the penalty is 25 championship points and a $50,000 fine. As we were discussing earlier in the episode, the move that spun out Gibbs, Ryan Preece does bump him and spin him, yes. But if you look comparable to the Kyle Busch, John Hunter Nemechek wreck, it doesn't look, as we previously said, as egregious. But the thing that really caught Preece red-handed was the audio saying how much he can't stand Ty Gibbs and how he can't stand that he is such a fast car. Then the contact and Gibbs gets into the wall does not make him look good. And in the end, I think that's why NASCAR pulled the trigger and gave him the penalty. You can't say, "Oh, I can't stand this guy, yada, yada, yada," and then you wreck him. That, of course, points the finger towards him. Will NASCAR overturn their penalty or lessen it? I don't think so. I think they'll stand tall on this. They don't want drivers wrecking other drivers. Of course, they want clean and honest racing. Moving right along, one of the big storylines going into Watkins Glen this year, there is some changes to the track. They will use tire packs to enforce new track limits. This year, we will no longer see the entire field driving off turn 1 on the runoff area on the restarts. They will add tire barriers to limit the track there. I do like that move. I think it's going to make for some awesome racing and some great restarts. My only concern is I hope it just doesn't create a bottleneck on the restarts and stack ups, but that can be road course racing sometimes. The change that I am most happy about is they are making some changes to the bus stop and the chicane. Last year, that terrible looking wreck with Austin Hill and Michael McDowell in the O'Reilly race, I still can't believe that McDowell got out unscathed and ran in the Cup race on Sunday. But after that over an hour red flag. Last year, safety measures in that area needed to be made, I believe, and I'm glad they did. In-season, silly season news, Katherine Legge will make her return to the Cup Series at Watkins Glen, driving the 78 Chevy for Live Fast Motorsports. Legge is also running some races in IndyCar. Exciting to have Katherine back in the field. We stay on that same topic. Natalie Decker will make her return to the Truck Series, driving for Team Rheum at Watkins Glen this Friday. Her sponsor will be Nico's Bagels and Brunch. Great to see Natalie get more opportunities and more races to run. She will also run in the Truck Series race the following weekend at Dover. Colleague Racing and Ram have announced the driver for the number 25 truck for Charlotte, and it's none other than Travis Pastrana. Even though that Ram and Colleague, Ram coming back into the sport as a manufacturer, this season hasn't been the smoothest sailing for them, but they're coming back into the sport. We knew there was going to be growing pains, but I love what they're doing with this all-star car, bringing in such veterans of the sport: Tony Stewart, Parker Kligerman, Clint Boyer. Now Travis Pastrana will be hopping in. Really excited for that. One thing to watch for the Trucks, O'Reilly, and Cup Series, SVG and Connor Zilisch will be in all three races. And who's going to win the battle of the road course ringers? Shane has been in Truck Series races before, but this will be his first Truck Series race on a road course. When Connor Zilisch made his Truck Series debut on a road course a couple years ago, he got up to the front pretty quickly. We know how good those two are in the O'Reilly car as well. Really going to be interesting to watch throughout this weekend, and definitely going to be taking a tally on their finishes, and we'll talk about it next episode at who won that battle. We'll get more into the specifics on predictions for their finishes later in the episode. Last topic on Discussions with Dave this week: Ryan Blaney signs a long-term contract extension to remain with Team Penske. When you win races, championships, good things typically continue. And Team Penske is not letting Ryan Blaney go anywhere. Really a no-brainer in all honesty. Blaney's been with Team Penske most of his career. Even though this year he is having his woes on pit road, they'll eventually iron those out. And as we've seen already this season, Blaney is in the championship conversation again. Only makes sense for Penske to lock him up long term. And that wraps up this episode's edition of Discussions with Dave. Now on to Watkins Glen Tire Diaries. Goodyear is bringing a familiar tire to the Glen, and it is their road course tire setup. This is the same tire that was used at COTA earlier this year and in all 6 road course races last season. The tire is developed to increase wear and fall off. The O'Reilly race is using the same setup from COTA as well, while the Truck Series will use the same setup that they used out in St. Petersburg, where they debuted at the road course in February. Wet weather tires will be available for all series if needed. Tire allotment for each teams are Cup Series, 7 total sets. O'Reilly, 6 sets. And for the trucks, 5. Now for drivers to look out for Watkins Glen, starting with ARCA. Kaden Honeycutt will be driving the 17, getting some extra left and rights before the Truck Series race that follows. Max Reeves in that 18. We know he can be quick. What can he do on the road course? Jake Bowman in the 20 currently sits atop of the point standings. Carson Brown in that 28. We saw last year how dominant that 28 can be. What can Carson do at the Glen? Ryan Gemmel hopping in the 29. We saw Gemmel shine on the Ram Race to the Seat show. Ryan Vargas is having a heck of a season right now. Currently third in the points. Going into Watkins Glen, I was preseason, if you told me that, I would not have believed you. But great for Ryan. Really a great driver and such a great guy to chat with at track. Patrick Staropoli, Dr. Patrick Staropoli, will be in the 51. Isabella Robusto in the 55. She was oh so close in Talladega, and we know she has a strong road course background. Can Isabella get it done? I sure think she'll be able to contend. Destiny Spurlock will be in the 66. Thomas Annunziata, New Jersey native, will be in the 70. Think he will be a contender. Andy Jankowiak trying to defend his win out in Talladega. Last year's winner, Tristan McKee, looks to defend last year's win. Now, drivers to look out for. Truck Series was talking about him on yellow flag, green flag. Cruise Missile, Brent Crews. SVG, among the favorites in this one. And of course, with Connor Zilic, Adam Andretti in the Tricon truck. Saw him run in St. Petersburg. Can Adam get up front? I don't see why not. Honeycutt, we saw Corey Heim win road course races in that 11 truck last year. I don't know if Honeycutt will be able to contend for the race win, but top 10 for sure. AJ Allmendinger is in the 25 for Ram in their all-star seat. Excited to see AJ back in the trucks. Those front row motorsport trucks of Layne Riggs, Chandler Smith, no, they're going to be quick. Ross Chastain will be in the 45. He's always a top one in the trucks. She will be doing double duty on Friday. Destiny Spurlock makes her Truck Series debut. Carson Hocevar back in the 77. Can he, after winning the Texas truck race, go back to back? To round things out, 4 full-time truck drivers that can deliver on the road courses as well. Ty Majeski, Christian Eckes, Jake Garcia, and Ben Rhodes. Now, the O'Reilly Series drivers to look out for at Watkins Glen. Alex Labbe, Canadian road course ringer, will be in the number 0. Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer will be quick in those Haas factory cars. Really expect them to be in the top 5 for qualifying. Definitely Mayer with his road course background. Connor Zilic, SVG. Both of those guys are going to be battling for the lead and probably the win in this one. Justin Allgaier brings that veteran presence in the 7. Austin Hill, we saw him leading laps last year at the Glen. What can he do in the 21? Jet Burton for Jordan Anderson Racing really showed out last year on the road course. Think he can get into the top 10. Ross Chastain, he's doing the 3 races as well. Also in Jordan Anderson equipment for this one. Preston Pardis, good to see him back at the O'Reilly Series level. We see him run part-time. He is a smaller team. Really excited to see the 50 back on track for Preston. Austin Green, a guy that was showing out in Talladega. Austin is known for top finishes at the road courses in this series. Raja Karuth in the 88. We know how quick that 88 car can be. Can Raja wheel it up front? With Zilic running the 1 for JRM, Carson Quappo will be in this one, but running the 91 for DGM. I think Carson can wheel that car into the top 10. Now, drivers to look out for. Cup Series. We start with Trackhouse Racing. They got 2 of the favorites, Connor Zilic, SVG, but don't count out the 3rd driver for Trackhouse, and that's Ross Chastain. Austin Cindric in that Team Penske 2 is really quick on the road courses as well. Kyle Larson, can't count him out. Daniel Suarez has won at the road course level with Trackhouse. He's with Spire. They've been on a roll right now. Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Blaney, Allmendinger, Chris Buescher, Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, I know that was a lot at once, but each of those guys, veteran presence that have already proved good finishes on the road course. Now we move to the guy that won the first road course race, and that's Tyler Reddick. Alex Bowman, can he continue finishing up in the top 3, top 5? Last but not least, Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell has led the most laps on road courses in the next-gen car. That definitely means something. Now for Fast Davies bets, starting with the trucks. Christian Eckes, top 5, plus 500. I like that one. O'Reilly, Sam Mayer, top 5 is plus 225. I think that one's free money almost. Cup Series, even though they don't have any alliances this year, AJ Allmendinger, Colleague Racing, top 10 is plus 110. I'm hitting that one. Now for trivia answer time. This episode's question is, who won in the Cup Series' first trip to upstate New York on the road course at Watkins Glen in 1957? The answer is good old Buck Baker. Now, predictions for the Glen, starting with ARCA. To be 100% honest, I originally circled Tristan McKee to go back-to-back. Think he's going to be up there contending. I just have a feeling Isabella Robusto in the 55 is going to break through. Give me Isabella in the 55 to get the win Friday in the Glen. Trucks, just like ARCA, I was really going back and forth between several drivers, and I want to say Kaden Honeycutt, but in the end, I think Connor Zilic is going to get it done. O'Reilly, give me SVG. Cup, Sunday, again, give me a double, SVG. On Sunday, I think it's Shane's second win of the weekend in upstate New York. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, a.k.a. Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. I hope everyone has a great Mother's Day with all the important mothers and women in their lives. Till next time, everybody, Splash of Gas out.